all the guys I hung around with, they were all playing lacrosse at that time. I guess I was 10 or 11. So they said, well, get a stick and come on out to the bowl and work around and have some fun. So that's how it started. It was actually 4 teams that they won, 51 to 55. They brought in Moon Wooten, Curly Mason, Rusty Slater. And Peterborough was an industrial town, so that encouraged the guys to come and play in Peterborough. And I got a lot of chances to play. In 1956, they brought me up for a Man Cup in Toronto. Well, we didn't do, I think we only won 1 game, but Nanaimo had a great team that year. They had a lot of ex-Peterborough guys that played for them, Whipper, Don Ashby, Arnie Dugan, Bobby Allen. Well, from 51 to 57, Peterborough was the main team in the East till we went back. Well, I got picked up in 57 to play in the Man Cup in Victoria, and we all got suspended that year, so. We got there, and the CLA treated us fine, and we went out for the warm-up, and all the head honchos from the CLA came in and said, Bobby Allen can't play. And we said, what do you mean he can't play? So we said, well, if Bobby Allen can't play with us, then we're not going to play. So they suspended us. They cut us all our money off. So here we are, we're going to pool all our money out, and we took the train back home. 3 days on the train, it was a good trip though, actually, basically, yeah. Our 57 team, we all moved up to senior the next year because everybody in Peterborough got suspended. All the Peterborough players got suspended. If we would have been playing junior, we'd have won the Minnow Cup, I'm sure, because we had some great players. Coombs and Ferguson, you know, Baker was our goalie. Yeah, we had a great team. Kenny Rattan. But look at that. I think there's about eight or 9 players on that team are in the Hall of Fame. When I came out in 59, we were out of practice, and she was in the stands watching us with a girlfriend. So the bus had already left, so Paul Morneau looked after the rink at that time. He says, I'll get the girls to see if they can give you a ride back to the hotel. So Joan and Marlene were there, and Pat Baker and I were the last ones. So they drove us back to the hotel, and we said, would you girls like to come to the game tomorrow night? So that's what happened. I ended up marrying Joan, brought her back east in Peterborough. And Victoria got in touch with me, and they offered me $500 for the year, and they paid my travel expenses and whole works. So I rented a car, and we drove out. My wife and I drove out to Victoria. So I guess it was March or April. I went up to number 3 hall, talked to Jack Fulton, and I said, "Are you interested in another player for the team?" I said, "Because I won't be playing in Victoria." He says, "Yeah." He says, "We'll see if we can get you, and we'll go from there." And so, anyways, I ended up with a tryout for the Salmon Bellies in '61, and I made the team. So until '75, I was a Salmon Belly. Yeah, we went back east, played in Brampton, and funny, we were in some hotel in Brampton, I don't know, and it was really a dirty place, you know. The CLA put us in there, and we beat Brampton 4 straight. Yeah, Billy Job. I thought he should have won the Mike Kelly Award that year, but they gave it to Beyond him. Billy had a great submarine shot, underhand shot. He played really well that year. Yeah, played well, and he was a good checker too. So we beat Brooklyn. No, I was in New Westminster. Yeah, and it was. They had a lot of They picked up about 7 players that year. But anyways, we ended up winning it. Every Thursday night when they played us in Queen's Park, the rink would be full, that's for sure. And so they made money for us with the rivalry that we had, because the splits were based on the people in the attendance. So, well, in '62 we went 7 games against Vancouver to win, to play back east in the Man Cup against Brampton. We won the West in '68. We won the West 69, 70, 71, 72. We didn't make the playoffs in 73. We won the West in 74. I used to throw up before every game, you know. I was nervous. Whenever I ate, I'd lose it pretty soon afterwards. So when I was in the fire department, I'd go to the rink in the afternoon and shoot the ball around, so I knew everything was okay with my stick and at that time. So, but I tried to lead, but I wanted to be the best as there was with the team, so I always tried the hardest that I could. So Harry McKnight and Jack Fulton were two executives on the team, which worked in the fire hall. And Spider Graham also worked there also, and Jack Cowie kind of did things managing. Doug McCrory was there, Shuttleworth was there, Rudy Reisinger was there, Dave Torrey got on the fire department, Wayne Goss got on the fire department, Wayne Bellwood got on the fire department. So there was, Billy Job was on the fire department at that time, and Rio Jerome was on the fire department. So there was a lot of Salmon Valleys on the fire department at that time. When the Rayonier fire in 65 or 66, we all got called out. And so we called in Vancouver to help us fight the fire. So we were supposed to play against Vancouver that Saturday night. They had to cancel the game because there's nobody left to play. Well, I remember we were lucky to get into the playoffs that year. We were in the third place. We played off against Vancouver, and we won 7 games with Vancouver. And then we had playoff against Coquitlam, or Portland, and we beat them in 6 games. So we ended up hosting Detroit, came out and we played them. We had an interlocking schedule because when we went back east, we played 4 games against them back east, and they came back out the west, and they played 4 games against us there. I enjoyed that, beating Detroit, because we were called the world champions at that time. So, yeah. Well, you had to work at it. Like I told you earlier, before every game, I go over to the rink, take shots at the net, and the whole works. When I was a young kid playing minor lacrosse, where I lived up the street, there was a cement block building up there. It was a hardware store. So I'd have a spot on the wall, and I used to, for an hour at a time, go up there and shoot pretty near after school every day. And I could hit that spot probably 8 out of 10 times. So that kind of made my shot a good shot that I had. So I could pick my spot, so I had, you know. I wanted to beat them. So that was my message, was to beat Peterborough. So, and I was really upset when they beat us in back east in '69. So, but we got even with them next year. We beat them 4th Street in Peterborough. Yeah. Well, I won the Mike Kelly Award that year, so I think I had a good series against them. So I ended up becoming the secretary of the Hall of Fame. Jack was the president. And then when he retired, I took over the president of the Hall of Fame. And I went back east and got a whole bunch of stuff from the east and brought them out. And this is not, I mean, this is far from what we had in the Hall of Fame building. Well, when Jack Bionda died, we had a deal at the Elks Club. And we started the alumni. That was over 20 years ago. And I was the treasurer of the alumni. And I ran the golf, we ran a golf tournament every year, and I think I ran it for about 12 years. None whatsoever. Had a great career. I ended up getting a great job. You know, and the job ended up because I played lacrosse, basically, is how I ended up getting in the fire department. I ended up the fire chief for the last 8 years that I was on the job. So, no, the lacrosse has been good to me, and I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't play lacrosse. So, you know, and I've enjoyed talking to you about the game of lacrosse. So, no, it's been good to me and my family. Yeah.